you're driven by something. And we were just having a conversation about, the Senate president speaking to second-term governors on what to do to select their successors or to choose their successors in that sense. But you are driven by something different in that sense, the whole process. So tell us why you're driven, why now, and we'll come to the feedback that you've been getting.
Thank you very much for having me. Look, the tragedy about Nigeria is that we are living in an alternate reality. We have decided to put the cart before the horse, so everyone is struggling. The literal professor said that things are falling apart and the center cannot hold. So what happens when the center has caved? What happens to what is supposed to get support or stamina from it? Everyone in Nigeria is struggling today because the center piece where everyone should get stability is not okay. If we fail to fix governance, we are just in a vicious circle of lamentations and complaints. Nigeria, we claim to be a democracy, and the hallmark of every democracy are free, fair, credible, and peaceful elections. Without people being able to choose their leaders, you can't call that a democracy. We can decide to call it anything else. And unfortunately for us, we have refused or failed to pay attention and fixing that system, which is the first line of accountability for public office holders. If you do not have a system where you can vote in people, and if they fail to perform, you vote them out, what is the deterrence for doing or behaving badly when you know there is a corrupt or criminal electoral process that you can weaponize and come back? So that is what we have. We begin. Why should somebody be talking about people, a governor bringing in a successor? Is it that the 10 million or so persons in the state do not have the ability to choose a leader? It is because our political system is structured such that we have strong men against the will of the people. So somehow, whether or not the people decide to sway this way, there is a structure that gives power to one person to be able to decide the fate of every other person. And Nigerians are not concerned about that. And if you do not do it now, at what point do we do it? You are complaining about inflation, insecurity, and whatever, the cost of living. The persons who put you in this situation are already prepared for 2027. So the question to every Nigerian is, what is then your plan for 2027? And nobody should say that the electoral process is okay. 2023 was a very clear example. We had 93 million registered voters according to INEC. 89 million collected PVCs. That is more than 90%. Less than 30 million came out to vote. Why are Nigerians not interested in that process? The professor in INEC, the INEC chairman, received 313 billion from the government and said, out of this amount, I'm taking 150-something billion for electronic technology. BVAS, which was the ultimate, supposed to be the game changer in the 2022 Electoral Act. On the day of the elections, the INEC chairman said there was a glitch. Gentlemen, does any of us here know why there was a glitch or what caused the glitch? And why should we not have further glitches going forward? If there is sincerity of purpose on the part of the politicians to actually give power to the people, why has nobody talked about fixing that process to ensure we have a seamless process? So the entire arrogance of a political class that is corrupt is a dysfunctional electoral system. And if you fail to fix it, you are only postponing the evil day, because they find a way of getting back by 2027. You have 4 more years. You complain and lament, then you get to 2031. If you fail to do nothing, how many years do Nigerians want to spend on the street complaining and lamenting? It is either now or we continue to suffer.
So at the end of the day, you've made a very profound and striking statement, all in just this short time you spoke on, and it's quite important. So I'm just processing. So I'll give you a scenario, I'll give you a straight question and give us a solution. Let's assume that these politicians are not ready for change. Let's assume that they are weaponizing the system. Let's assume that this system is working for them, and anything that will fix this system, they'll come against it with everything they have. As a Nigerian, you are the vanguard of this, at least for now. Where should we start from?
We must start from people identifying what exactly is the importance of that process. Do Nigerians realize that the collective destinies of persons depend on our decision to hold persons accountable? Because one of the things you will notice about Nigeria is that the persons in power are emboldened by the docility of the people. How many are the persons in power? How many senators do we have? How many reps? How many persons are in the presidency? Calculate all with the 36 state governors. So the question will now be, in Nigeria, the people in power and the power of the people, who should be greater? If one person can come out to boast and say that in so state by 2027 there will be no party or there will be no opposition, or by this time nobody can stop the re-election of this person, at what point do the 200 million or more victims of bad governance come together and say, by this time we want to end bad governance?
Why do you think we're docile?
There are different reasons to it. One, there is an apathy because Nigeria throws a lot at you. So the dysfunctionality in government makes you weak and uninterested. You are battling hunger, you are battling insecurity, you are battling a lack of health infrastructure. So everybody is struggling. There is little energy to begin to put into what you believe cannot be changed. So when you talk about having free and fair elections in Nigeria or good governance, some persons are completely detached from that reality. It will not work. They won't tell you, Peter, forget about this thing. And then again, there is the benefit of hindsight for NSAS. One of the only times Nigerian youths came out to agitate for end of brutality, they were met with even more brutality. So by the time you step out to say, I want to do this, your mother, somebody is calling you, please, it's not your blood that Nigeria will be built on, can you come back home? So there are many reasons, but my point is this: what is our other option? If we decide not to be interested, people are died, more than 150 persons are killed in Plateau. A flood has killed more than 200 in Niger. If you speak, we are going to die. So at what point do we now decide to sum up the courage and say, let's fix this?
It's a lot to unravel. I mean, the Niger situation, we had the State Emergency Management Authority saying so far they've recorded 153, but they fear that the death toll will increase, particularly when you go to the river Niger. But gentlemen, I want to lay this before you because this conversation is important. It's meant to reawaken something in Nigerians. Make no mistake about it. There's still millions of Nigerians, and even more, that are in support of those in power.
Yes.
And you see them from time to time. They come out campaign, be it door to door, they buy t-shirts, face caps, they're all out there, right? So is it docility or just freedom of choice? So some choose to support the system as it is right now for a number of reasons. It works for them in that sense. Maybe they have someone close to them who is benefiting from it, so naturally my family, great. Or they just feel this works. At least some of them have not been to other clients, or some just think this is the best we can have, so they decide to pitch their tent with the current system. For some other people like you are like, no, it must work. So how do we find what I call it a level playing field to be able to cross-pollinate and say, well, this is what we want. You have your freedom to choose, support it or not, but this is at least the barest minimum that we should have when it comes to structure or the institution that ensures that we choose the right leaders. I'll come to you then, come to the kind of feedback you've been getting.
Okay, so first and foremost, here's the problem. You can't engage a system you don't understand, which is why the work we do is very important, which is political education. You can't engage a system. So I'll tell you how Nigeria is rigged. It's rigged in multiple ways. Number one, Nigeria says, within the Electoral Act, when you're running for president, you cannot spend more than 10 billion.
On paper.
You cannot, when you're running for governor, you cannot spend more than 1 billion. When you're running for Senate, you cannot spend more than 100 million.
That's
when
on
you're
paper.
running for, no, it's on paper. But here's where they rigged it. They put this law so you cannot say there is no, how do I put it? There's no
spending limits.
Now the trick the National Assembly puts to rig everything was nobody starts with the responsibility of monitoring campaign limits, campaign fund limits. So when you carry a case that this person spends so amount in his election, they will tell you no one has jurisdiction. End. Court case. Finito. Simple. The campaign limit for local government chairman is 25 million. We have political parties selling the form for local government chairman at 10 million. What are you going to spend on campaigns? It's gone. So, no, and here's the problem. Nigerians do not understand. Like I say, you can't engage a system you don't understand. He said something where also electronic transmission. Yes, everybody had a problem with that. But if you go into the Electoral Act, INEC has the power to choose what mode of transmission. That is already rigging the election before it happens. So you see, these little minor lines in our laws so for you to fight the system, you have to go back to understand why it is the way it is, and then get it corrected, then come back to fighting the system. Because as long as that system exists, you now have 3 modes of primaries. Indirect and direct were fine before. Delegates, you now have consensus, meaning 6 of us, and I was in the political party, so 6 of us, national.
They served you breakfast, right?
I thought it was hectic when I entered the civic space. I even found out how it was. But let's not discuss that. But I was at the highest level, and I understand what consensus primaries means. We don't understand it. We think it's a better freedom. No, it means that 4 of us here who have political positions can choose and say, you know what, this guy is going for governor.
Because he has knelt down, he has rolled on the floor, because he's subservient.
That's what consensus means. And you know, here's the joke. Political parties conduct multiple primaries. I was in a political party and I was at the highest level. INEC only responds to the invitation of the national secretary. So please, how are you at 6 different primaries, then you throw it to the courts to choose? INEC itself is a problem. I don't think it's a problem. It's the problem.
It's a weapon.
So I know how the system is supposed to work. National secretary, who is the chief administrator of the political party, sends a letter. INEC attends that primaries. How do you have 6 primaries? Like, look at the Edo State situation with APC before the present governor was elected. There were more than 5 primaries. Are you joking? How is that even happening? And you know, this multiple situations. So what I think the Nigerian electorate has not understood is that I must learn to think like these guys. That's the truth. You cannot say you're going to run against these guys that already know how the system works, and then you want to play an Obama mode. Are you serious? These guys are not so playing.
So Peters,
Yes.
I'm sure you're going to respond to some of the things that Kyle raised and respond to him as well. So let me just break it down. You have spoken about coordinated chaos. He has talked about legislative flip-flops.
Yes.
Those are the alibi these politicians hide under to deal with the citizens the way they are being dealt with.
Yes.
I always like to start with the question of where are we starting from? You've started somewhere. How do we get the critical mass to be able to make this happen as soon as possible?
As soon as possible. Thank you very much. To Mr. Kayode's question, you were talking about how do we get a balance. The question will be if there is sincerity of purpose in the phrase electoral reform or fixing INEC. Is there anything that should be partisan in it? Is there anything that is ambiguous? Should everybody, regardless of partisan support, not be interested in a credible process? So if you leave it not to be reformed, are you saying that not reforming it benefits a certain faction? So leave it crude so that those people benefit, or let's refine it and give a level playing ground. I think anybody who is honest should be able to say we should reform it. Not by President Buhari telling you that if you reject the result of this, you should go to court, because there is a judicial aspect of it. Nigerians, said there was electoral reform in 2022. There was a lot of persons do not pay attention. Section 60, subsection 65 of that electoral act says the presiding officer will transmit the results in a way and manner that is prescribed by INEC. And same thing in paragraph 38 of the INEC guidelines. So even when INEC decided a way to handle the elections, the judiciary did not hold them to it, because there are no consequences spelled out in the electoral act. And right now in the National Assembly, there is an amendment that is going on between INEC and the National Assembly, with INEC having 5-point agenda, none specifying there should be mandatory transmission of results electronically. So in all of it, you will see that there is an issue. And the mere fact that since 2023 till date, nobody in the helms of power have thought it right that we should fix this system, and there must be a timeline. At most by December this year, we should conclude anything about election, because it must be 1 year out of the other election. That is why you see us screaming. So now, coming to your question, Nigerians will realize that the clock is ticking on every one of us. When you see me, what I am doing is to ensure that I do not wake up a day after 2027 and realize there is something I should have done that I did not do. You cannot change everything, but you can begin somewhere. If you get a foundation from where you can begin your nation building, it is easier for you. Because when you come, people will tell you, oh, there is hunger, there is this, there is... So during End Bad Governance, you saw it. After the protest, what happened? These prices of things even skyrocketed.
I asked about the feedback you've been getting, because it's important to track it.
Yes.
Because you've set a target December.
Yes.
December is 6 months
from now
away. And
that's when Mahmoud will leave office.
Exactly. So, and you know how fast things can move. And tell you, oh, well, it's not possible again. Let's move on to 2031 and just work for it. So what kind of feedback have you been getting? A lot of people know you as a content creator. They missed your content, funny content. Now they see you talking about fixing Nigeria. Some ask, how did Peter just switch? Is he being funded by somebody? Is somebody empowering him, as they said, who is bankrolling you in that sense? But speak to us about the feedback. You guys remember bankrolling? Speak to us about the feedback you've been getting. Is this mission impossible? Does it look like mission impossible, or this mission is possible for you? And those questions around the backing you're getting.
Do you know why I don't place it on a scale of mission impossible or mission not possible? It is mission that must be done. It is either Nigerians do it now or they do it later. The only thing is postponing the evil day, as it is. When it comes to bankrolling, in fact, moving to Abuja. I live in Lagos and I've been going to Abuja. It is my house rent that I was supposed to use to renew, that I have been using. Nobody, because Nigerians, even when you come out to say, oh, we want to do this, because of the space of, civic engagement, people begin to feel like maybe this person is out for some financial benefits and all of that. There is nobody. We are just trying to see. We came together with a group of persons, Nigerian Electoral Reform Coalition, NACO. We are personally doing whatever we are doing. The conference we held in Abuja, we invited people like Barrister Femi Falana. There was almost no refreshment to give anybody there. But the feedback is that a lot of Nigerians do not actually believe in that process, that we can have free and fair elections. That is how bad it is. A lot of Nigerians have given up that when it comes to credible elections, they will not do anything. Some people will tell you the statement, is it these people who are benefiting from it that you expect to reform it? Then the question is...
And it's a valid question.
It's a valid question, and this is the valid answer. If you cannot get the reform from them, maybe you should wait for them to exhaust 8 years, and maybe the persons they bring will be easier to get it from. It will never get better. It is either you mount your pressure now and get it, or we continue to suffer.
And it's good to see that you've gotten attention from a lot of people from the National Assembly and others. So wish you the very best. I must commend the work you're doing. Hopefully we've been able to ignite or trigger something in Nigerians to get more interested and involved in the process. Peter Aka, advocate for a new Nigeria. At Randy Peters online.
That's in the back burner, right?
Oh, definitely.
This is big for him.
Absolutely, and we wish you're able to raise your rent, right? After you spend it. I'm Kunle Lawal, the Executive Director, Electoral College. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
So guys, you have seen it for yourself. What we are saying here is that these politicians, They know that going by merits, they can't convince Nigerians. They know that going by achievement, they can't convince Nigerians. They know that going by what eyes can see, they cannot convince the people. Despite the fact that, we've heard that they are trying to fabricate figures, telling us that recession, a kind of inflation is down, telling us that prices of things have come down. But when you ask an ordinary Nigerian, they will tell you that they've not felt anything better in their lives. This is because these people know they have failed Nigerians. The only way they know they can escape this is to gag other politicians, force them into joining the APC and to use INEC, which we all know that the judiciary is going to uphold. But the earlier we take our own stance now, the better. Nigerians should sit up, join Peter for Nigeria and his group in calling for electoral reform. Electoral reform that we all must not go to sleep like it all happened last year when the INEC chairman came out to tell us that, see, Beavers and IREF is going to work. That you should ignore anybody that is telling you that it's not going to work until it now happened that it didn't work. Nigerians, don't cast your vote and go to sleep. Defend your vote to the state level. Follow them and make sure that your vote is not rigged so that your effort will be in vain. Because looking at these people, they are out to destroy this country. You can imagine people who know they are not competent forcing themselves into places of leadership. That is what we have today in Nigeria. But we must not keep silent. It is time for every one of us to stand up and say enough of all this, because it cannot hold anymore. Now, take a look at this headline. It says APC stalwarts urges article will be others to join Tinubu's Renew Hope agenda. This is yesterday's headline, and it says that, let me read further on what is contained here on this blog. It says a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC in Osun State, Honorable blah blah blah, has advised opposition leaders to join force with Tinubu in his Renew Hope agenda and stop the war against his re-election. He said further, to stop the re-election of Tinubu was a failed project, warning former Vice President Atiku Abubakar P2B and former Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, to channel their effort. He's warning them to channel their efforts towards making Nigeria a great country. So making Nigeria a great country is only when you join the Tinubu's camp, and only when you follow them to do what they are doing. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.
Basically, what the appeal I'm making and as I go around, I said it at the beginning, that there's a lot of us who are applying for this job to be CEO of this enterprise called Nigeria. I thank you for inviting me, and I know you've invited other candidates as well. And I want you to give them opportunity of coming to be with you the way I was with you today. Listen to them. Let them not send delegates or representatives. When people campaign here, I asked people in America yesterday, when Obama was talking, was he speaking through spokesperson? No. They said no. When Liz and everybody, all these people were campaigning, they come through spokespeople? No. So let everybody come physically. Tell you what you will do, take note. Because what happens in our place is that, so you can tape him. What happens in our place is that people come, tomorrow he says, I didn't say it, it was my party or somebody who said it. We want to listen to them what they want to say. Nobody goes for interview. All of you go one day looking for a job. Nobody's going to go for interview for you. You go physically yourself. So we are now looking for a job. It must be a physical appearance. If they like, let them even do it through Zoom. But they must be interviewed directly. But I prefer that they come here. There's enough way to come here. It's train. Somebody, I've already bought train ticket where somebody offered to drive me down. This train is very easy. If you come out of train, this is state business school. You can come anywhere. If you want bicycle, there's enough bicycle in Oxford to drive you around. Anything you want. So let them.
Page 12 of the Punch. Corruption not allowed in Nigeria, says Tinubu. What's the meaning of
No, all I want to do is to read the 2 paragraphs of the story.
No, you're not going to do that.
And other people.
You will analyze it.
I'm not analyzing it.
You have to analyze it now.
I mean, the story says that President Tinubu has restated his administration's unwavering commitment to fighting corruption and recovering looted public funds, declaring that there will be no safe haven for corruption in Nigeria. I ask only one question. When is this commitment going to be fully exhibited? In a cabinet where you have a minister driving a Rolls Royce, amongst other things. As far as I am concerned, I don't think Nigeria has a leadership or has ever had a leadership that in truth wants to fight corruption. And so we beg our leaders to stop making these speeches and so on and so forth, because there is no need. People already know what's going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? I find it even offensive for a leader in this current dispensation to tell me that corruption is not allowed in Nigeria. Since when?
So guys, why Nigerians want Tinubu to leave Aso Rock? There are many reasons to that. Apart from the hunger in the land, have you thought of the level of insecurity, how Nigerians are today insecure? Because we have leadership that don't even consider the people worth living in this country. Now, since there have been incidences of buying of people across Nigeria, Tinubu has not come out to issue any marching order to contain this level of insecurity that is being experienced in Nigeria. Now, the military that suffered huge blow after the attack of Boko Haram recently, they are now trying to, gather themselves and go after the bandits. Guess what? There's a headline here coming from Sahara Reporters, and it says, Nigerian military jet mistakenly strikes by 20 vigilantes in Zamfara State. That's coming from Sahara Reporters. So guys, this is the kind of leadership we have. They don't do anything, and anytime they want to do it, it will be colossal failure. You can imagine how every time they mistakenly target civilians over bandits and terrorists, all these terror groups. Now, this headline reads further. It said the tragic incident occurred after armed bandits attacked village, buying several residents and abducting 50 others, mostly farmers who were working on their fields. Oh my God. Nigerian military fighter jet has mistakenly struck and by about 20 men of a vigilante group during an operation targeting bandits in Garin Mani, a village in Maru, in the Muru local government area of Zamfara State. The tragic incident occurred after armed bandits attacked the village, buying several residents and abducting over 50 others. So guys, you have seen it. The Nigerian military has suffered another big setback. Attempts to buy bandits ended up with buying vigilante. This was happening after bandits came into a community. They took so many people, about 50 people with them that they kidnapped, and they bought so many others, people that were working on their farms. And Tinubu is going about, you see, Akpabio said things are getting better. Where things are getting, this is how they praise people, praise them into dungeon. They cannot tell them the reality on ground. They cannot tell them what Nigerians are going through. Nobody is thinking about the ordinary man. It's all about these politicians. Can you imagine that the Air Force, every time there's a mistake, this one is Nigerian military jets, mistakenly strikes by 20 vigilantes in Zamfara, while about 50 people were being kidnapped by these thieves, and they ended up killing other people. The number of the people who were killed was not stated in this news that I just read. And this person said, at this point, I believe it's time to start asking serious questions why it is Nigerian military constantly making avoidable mistakes. This isn't the first time. It's not even the 10th in the past 4 years. It's beginning to seem like a deliberate effort by the military. Can you imagine? By the military to sabotage both its operation and the nation. It raises concern that Nigeria's Insecurity Industry Limited is being kept alive on purpose with no intention to stop it. You know, this is it. Now Nigerians are asking questions. You must have seen the military guy who came out to say that, you know, that their seniors are the ones enjoying the money, that they love what is happening. They don't care about the junior fighters who are sent to the war front, you know. And this other person reacted and said, repentant Boko Haram army, wait until one of them becomes CDS. This one say it's not mistake, it was done purposely. That is it. So you can see Nigerian military went to buy, these bad guys and ended up buying vigilante group. And this one say good news. Why should it be good news? It shouldn't be good news. This person said they will never mistakenly buy bandits and terrorists, honestly. Instead, they will buy those protesting. Protecting villages. That's what he actually wanted to see. This other person said, I really hope this is not true. Not again. Military can't continue mistakenly buying civilians. Oh my God. And this person said, as soon as I saw this jet photo, I predicted the news. Nigerian army, Ireo, more grease to your elbow. Every time they keep buying people, this level of unprofessionalism is unbelievable. This other person said, is there no consequence? This is the type of thing that one could make, that could make people take up arms to attack the military. Honestly, this is really becoming unbecoming. Honestly, this is wrong. This person said, mistake? I bet it wasn't. It wasn't any mistake. And this other person say, they will soon turn the whole of Zamfara as mistake if serious action is not taken. They will soon burn the whole Zamfara if precautions are not being taken. Honestly, these are reactions coming from Nigerians. People are not happy the way our military is going about this insecurity. And this other person says, the vigilantes were the target. They must have dealt with the terrorists. That's why the military had to come in for the Fulani terrorist rescue by bombing the vigilante. Sad reality. This person said, we all know the vigilante are the ones protecting the village from the Fulani headsmen, so they have to be taken out. Nigeria needs a better president where these people need to be flushed out. This other person say it's not a mistake, but because vigilantes are now having upper hand on Fulani terrorists. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? There might be sense in this thing. If you can remember the sniper who said, you know, he was shot at by another military man because the military man doesn't want him to buy Boko Haram. He said he's a sniper, so he can aim at Boko Haram fighters anywhere they are and buy them. So a fellow army man shot at him, telling him stop killing Boko Haram members. So this is a sympathizer of Boko Haram in the military, you know, that did that. So guys, I don't know what you make of this news. It's really so pathetic that we are still here at this point as a country. You know, we keep lamenting over one thing over and over again, and that is why Nigerians are calling for the electoral reform. We need this electoral reform because we cannot continue like this as a country. Honestly, we can't continue like this as a country. Nigeria must work and Nigeria must work, honestly. So guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you and see you in my next video. Bye.